Welcome to the great t-shirt scam of 2023. This all started about 3 weeks ago when I received a message on Instagram from a fellow vintage t-shirt dealer by the name of Troy Diggs. So Troy, I don't know Troy personally. He seems like a really nice guy. He gets a lot of great stuff on a very consistent basis. He's one of those guys that runs Facebook ads, we buy your old shirts, and has photos of old shirts, and it seems to work for a lot of people. So this old guy in Australia, one of those ads somehow magically lands in the old timers orbit, and he sees this ad and he answers this ad, and this ad goes to Troy, and then Troy comes to me. And so this old guy claims that he has thousands and thousands of old shirts. But every time Troy asks for that's amazing, is there any way you could send photos? He seems to get a bit frustrated and flustered. No, I don't know how to do any of that stuff. And here's my telephone number. Give me a call. So that's why Troy was hoping I was in Australia, that I could maybe go over there and check it out since I'm there. And anyway, so I'm like, say no more. Give me the number. I'll happily give the old guy a call. Hello? Clive Minshall speaking. Yeah, Clive Minshall. It's a name that we're gonna be hearing a lot through the course of this story, and the reason for that is because the whole bloody story revolves around him. G'day, Clive. Sorry to bother you, mate, but listen, I'm a friend of Troy's, and I'm actually the t-shirt guy. So we're off to the races. We're having a great old chat, and 10 minutes turns into 15. All of a sudden, half an hour. By the end of it, we're on the phone for almost 2.5 hours. We really got along really well. And he's charismatic. He's funny. He's charming. He seems very nice. And he's very interesting. However, he is very braggadocious, which is a tiny bit of my bullshit radar's gone a little bit. Not like off the charts, but just so we've got a first little notch on the Richter scale. It's just started moving because he's very braggadocious. So I'm just there going, yeah, okay, yeah, sure. So it's kind of in one ear and out the other. And some of those things that he claims we'll get to. I eventually steer the conversation towards why I'm calling in the first place. These old t-shirts. Troy tells me you've apparently got thousands. Is that so? Like thousands of old shirts? How have you accumulated so much? Well, mate, look, here's my story. I lived in London from the 1970s to the later part of the 80s, and why I was there? Well, I was a session drummer, Kirby, and now, great, some more commonality. I was like, that's interesting, man. I'm a drummer too. Used to just juggle vintage and drums quite a bit, actually. More so on the vintage side of things these days. But yeah, I've done a bit of session stuff and a lot of touring in my years. So that's cool, man. We can kind of talk more about that later. I'm fascinated. And his tone did change a little bit. I did pick up on it. It was kind of like, I could almost hear his inner monologue be like, shit, I should have said saxophone, So, yeah. Are you? That's cool. Yeah. Well, anyway, mate. Yeah, I'm bloody. Geez, I'm credited on over 400 records. I've played drums on over 400 records. I have, and really, Clive? Wow, that's amazing, man. What are some of the albums that you've played on over the years? And this is where my little bullshit Richter scale thing starts vibrating again. Geez, mate. I can't even. It's crazy. When I'm on the spot, I can't even think of. One, I'm not at my home, mate. I'm at my holiday house. My home's got and if you ever come, you'll see for yourself. I've got the hallways just lined with plaques on me, plaques from the records I've played on over the years. But I can't think of. And so, I'm not stupid, but it's there's no reason to lie. To me, I'm like, I can't see why you would make that up. But my brain can't compute. So Tells me he's a drummer, and that when he lived in London from that period of time, he was just so heavily involved in the music scene. And, you know, you would go to the record labels and to say hello. And then by the time you leave, you walk out with a box of t-shirts and records from the next flavor of the month band that the record label was promoting. Or you go to the radio station and they just have buckets of old merch and you end up. So that's all very believable because that is how it works. And my dad is an old radio guy, and I know for a fact that they used to get a lot of old promotional items sent to the station. So again, there's no reason to not believe it because it's all making just enough sense to believe it. Yeah, it's out there, but it's not that far out there. So I'm thinking, oh man, wow, this is amazing. So yeah, mate, that's how I accumulated them, you know, just over the years. But yeah, I've got about 30 boxes, and each one I'd say has about, 400 t-shirts in them or so. That was a little bit of a red flag, just because you don't really realize how much even 100 t-shirts is. Like, it's a lot. 400 t-shirts, that's going to be a box like the size of a fridge or a dishwasher or something. So I'm like, but again, why would you make it up? Why would you? This is insane. So I'm like, fuck, in my head. I'm like, oh, okay, but all right. So then when I bring up taking photos, I was like, listen, Clive, I don't want to, I hate to be annoying, but is there any way I could get a couple of photos? And no, look, I told Troy I don't do the photos thing. I don't know how to. Look, this is time sensitive for me, Kirby. I'm selling the place. And I was like, whoa. So I read the room. I backed off. Yeah, and look, Clive, no worries at all, man. Yeah, I'm not the best with technology myself, mate. I completely get it. Could I just at least ask you a few questions about some of these old shirts you have? I was like, would you mind grabbing a box of old shirts and can we open it up and just have a chat about them? He's like, yeah, mate, I can do that. So he can hear him like, oh, jeez. Oh. You know, he's got his soundboard going, probably. And so he opens up the first box and I'm just so excited on the other end of the phone because I can hear him going, oh, God, that takes me back. We got 1, 2. Kirby, mate, I'm looking at this first box here. Just took one at random. And, mate, I've got, God, there's got to be about 30 or so. Never worn, mate. I never wore these 30 or so old 70s Sex Pistols shirts, mate. And underneath that, looks The Damned. We've got The Knack. And so he's just telling me all these bands and I'm just getting so excited because I live for this stuff. And I'm so passionate about all these old bits and pieces. So I'm just thrilled hearing this. And I go, wow, man, this is amazing. I go, okay. Just grab the first 5 and just tell me what country does it say that it says on the tag. We just want it to say anything but an Asian country or Mexico, really. It's nothing against those countries. It's just that we started offshoring, manufacturing these products probably, I don't know, the later part of the 90s for the most part, the middle to later part. So it's just it's a good way, if you can't have photos, just ask, where is the thing made? And I'm hoping he's going to say England. And he says the right thing. Now, he probably says that of common sense. It's not that much of a stretch to kind of arrive at this point. But anyway, he's like, oh, mate, we got made in England. Made in England. They all say made in England, mate. Made in England. So again, I'm just like, all right, things are bloody, things are making sense. Things are adding up. So I'm like, okay, good. Now, he says 2 more things. Actually, sorry. Now's a great time to talk about Kieran.
It all started with me, right?
Yes.
Basically, he contacted me on Facebook. I have a pretty high profile, so it's not hard to find me. I can't get enough of you. And Minchell is not a common name. It's easy to think maybe anyone in Australia with that spelling of my name would be related to me. So there was no reason for me not to believe him, although there had never been any mention from my other family members that there was another Minchell in Australia.
So, Kieran, yeah. Well, mate, also too, I've got a lot of, now Kieran's got a lot of old clothing too. Now, it's not just t-shirts we have in boxes, mate. Look, do you do anything else in the world of clothing? Because what we got tons of old 70s women's stuff because my wife, Kieran.
He said he was my first cousin.
Yeah. So he's talked about his wife, Kieran, at this point through just normal conversation on and off 1 trillion times. Like he brings her up every second sentence.
How do we know how many people he's lying about me to? It's my reputation.
He's obsessed. Yeah.
Kieran does this. Kieran did that. Me and Kieran have been together for this long. We did this together, blah, 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 blah. A lot of stories about Kieran. We're going to get back to her in a second. But anyway, so yeah, mate. So she's got this box of looks like old denim jumpsuits. Is that of any interest? And I was like, oh man, yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially if they've got like crazy embroidery or like a novelty kind of print. Oh yeah, mate. That's what this has. This one's got bloody flower. Like this is he's an older bloke. He probably remembers what people were wearing back in the hippie movement. Yeah, this one's got flowers bloody embroidered all over it and whatnot and peace signs and stuff. So he's saying all the right things and I'm just getting so excited. There is no reason to assume that he is lying at this point because there's no motivation to lie. So again, I'm just so, oh man, I'm really just, he's charming the hell out of me. But yeah, these next two things are what sets me over the line. So he grabs another box. He's like, oh, man, I'll grab one more box for you. I'm like, yeah, great. I'd just be curious to know what's in it. Just this is fun for me at this point. Yeah, mate, no worries. Oh, geez, Kirby. Wow, this takes me back, mate. This takes me back. Oh, God, what is it? He goes, now, look, Kirby, this is a bit before your time, mate. I'm not sure if you're going to know this. Your folks would, though. Your mum and your dad probably would. But, mate, I have just opened a box. And look, these have never been worn. He goes, mate, these have never been worn. But I've just opened a box, mate, and I've just been blasted back. This is a box. There has to be, what, 50? Never worn. Still in the plastic. As you can hear. Because clearly that's plastic. Old Countdown t-shirts. Now, you're not going to, the emoji with like the mind-blowing emoji? Yeah, that was me. I cannot even tell you how long I have wanted an old Countdown shirt. I have been working on putting a book together of Australian merchandise from 1960 to the year 2000 for seriously probably a decade at this point. I've been collecting forever, but for the last 10 years, I've had that focus. And there's a lot of holes in my collection still. There's a few bits and pieces from specific record labels and such. I got a lot of the band side of it, but now the niche side of it I really want for the book. And one of my white whales is an old Countdown shirt. And this guy's claiming he's got 50 of them, never worn. I'm like, this is unreal. Boom. I'm like sweating. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, I know Countdown. Now, for those that don't know Countdown was like Australia's answer to like Top of the Pops, Late Night with Jules Holland or something. It was just a program that was on Australian TV, was hosted by, I think at one point by Molly Meldrum, which is a really iconic figure in Australian music. And it was just a program where the flavor of the month that was promoting a tour or the single band musical act of some description, singer-songwriter would go on Countdown if they're lucky, sing their song on national TV, and it was huge. It was so big, and it's very important because it's part of the fabric of the Australian music story is Countdown. So I'm so excited. I'm thrilled. I can't tell you. I'm like, oh my God, and I'm just telling him how excited I am, and he's like, well, you're going to love this then. 1970, God, geez, I can't remember what year it was, Kirby, but the 1970s, early 1970s. Now, I had told you that my best friend was blah, 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 the drummer from Pink Floyd. What? Yeah, mate, yeah. Well, I told you my best friend, the drummer from Pink Floyd, my neighbour in London. Bullshit. Yeah, so anyway, but at one point, my best mate, drummer from Pink Floyd, introduced me to the drummer in The Damned, and forget his name, and we became really good friends over the years, and I became good friends with The Damned as a whole, and I was around, I was a punk rocker, and so look, long story short, The Damned, I had moved back to Australia briefly for a little bit, and The Damned were coming over to tour Australia. I think it was the first tour too, Kirby. And anyway, and the drummer got deathly sick. He got very ill and unfortunately couldn't do the tour. And so they asked yours truly to do the tour, which I did. And in fact, I actually played drums with The Damned on Countdown. So, and I'm just like, what? That's unreal. Are you serious? And I'm just that's amazing, man. I had so many questions, but I'm like, I'm going to wait and I'll ask him in person. I was going to film the whole thing. It was going to be fantastic. I was honestly so excited to hear that. He's like, yeah, mate, yeah, a lot of memory. So that's where I'm assuming that's probably where I got these countdown shirts from, because, you know, that merch was just everywhere back then. So now I'm like almost about to book my ticket. Like, this is just enough. And then this is what sealed the deal. Clive, I hate to talk about money, mate, but I probably should have a bit of a conversation just so I can kind of budget. And in my head, I'm like, 4,000 t-shirts. What do I have to go and get a loan for like 20 grand? I mean, I know Troy and I are going to go split this, but that's a shit ton of product. And I don't have that sort of capital to kind of drop just willy-nilly. Yeah. So I go, as far as price for these shirts, like, are you wanting to kind of go individual, or are you just wanting to like one lump sum, take it all? And he's like, oh, mate. Oh, Kirby, no. Mate, you've heard me talk about the stuff I have, which is true. He's told me that he has resorts in Fiji, waterfront property in Sydney, including some very fancy restaurant that's on the Sydney Harbour, which is insane. If you own anything in Sydney, period, let alone anything on the water, you're in the 1% for sure. He talked about he has Bentleys and Rolls Royces, and how he's special Mercedes that was getting custom made, where they make two, one to race around a track and one to take home to Australia. So he has told me a lot of braggadocious claims about his money, Rolexes, pink diamonds for his wife Kieran.
My first cousin.
And so he's like, now look, Kerb, I've told you, mate, like you've heard me mention some of the things that are in my possession. Kirby, no, mate, this isn't about money for me. I don't need your money. I'm fine for money, mate. I'm absolutely fine. No, look, I'll be honest with you. And it's sad because I feel like we're friends now, but I'm dying, Kirby. I've had about 6 heart attacks, and my heart is not good. And the doctor does think that the next one's most likely going to take me out. You know, actually, the last one, I remember this vividly. I died for 14 minutes, and I was in the ambulance after a very severe stroke. And when I came to, I woke up in the ambulance and I stared up and I looked up, and there was this beautiful ambulance driver, blonde she was. I love blondes, Kerb. And I said to her, I was like, oh, geez. And I knew I was going to die. I just had this calm wash over me, and this real acceptance that I was about to go to the other side. And so I just looked up at this beautiful ambulance driver. I said, love, would you mind singing me a song? You know, just it'd be lovely to hear something sweet as I exit this world. So he's telling me this, and I'm just like, single Hollywood tear. I'm like, this is what a touching moment. How touching. Wow, that's deep. So, mate, what I'm getting at, I'm an old rich bloke. I can't take this stuff with me when I die, and I just want it to go to people that love it. And by the sounds of it, you're the guy for this stuff, mate. So no, I'm going to happily give it to you. No problem whatsoever. So I don't want to hear any more about it. This is on me, and I'm going to send everything over to you in Canada, right? I'm going to send everything over to you in Canada, mate. I had him on speakerphone. My wife, who was very skeptical, way more so than me. I believe in fairy tales. You know, I live in a magical fairyland a lot of the time because I'm a believer. And I'm too trusting of people. Because I can never, like, what's the motivation for lying? If I can see a clear motivation for lying, I don't trust anybody. But if I can't find one, my logic brain's like, well, if you can't find the motivation for lying or any reason, then why not believe that person? So I look over at my wife, like both our jaws are on the ground. She's a little bit misty-eyed too, and I'm just like, fuck, you know, like that's something I would do if I was a filthy rich bastard, and that's something I would do. I would probably take a lot of pleasure in finding somebody that really cares for this stuff. And the other reason too is he was like, And I don't want to burden my family with all my possessions, and I don't want fighting and squabbling to happen. So I just think it's easier for me to deal with it all now while I'm alive, which again makes sense. It does make sense. And it's something my logic brain could completely compute. So I go, and at that moment, that was it. I look at Kelsey and I go, like as if to say, I'm fucking flying home. And she's like, and I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking doing it. And she's like, well, I'm like, yeah. But she's like, but you were just there. I'm like, I know, but I'm because 4,000 shirts and he's doing. So I go, Clive, mate, I don't know what to say. That's just, yeah. I mean, thank you so much. I'm so lost for words. I'm so grateful that I don't think I've ever really come into that level of generosity in my whole life. And I was like emotional on the phone and shit. Like it just, I don't know. I had look, I tell the story again, but I went through some shit in 2020 and it was just sort of seemed like, was this the way of the universe rewarding me for getting through some shit? Like I thought it was so special. And so I was like, look, I'm going to fly home and I'm going to thank you in person, give you a hug, shake your hand, buy you a beer. I need you to know how appreciative I am. And it's just my nature. I just want to do that. I know you're not asking me to, but I want to do that. No, Kirby, you don't need to do that. Now, in hindsight, looking back, that tone was a bit panicky. And it wasn't like, oh, you don't need to do that. It was, no, you don't need to do that. It was a big difference in tone. But I ignored it. I was just so blinded by this, flawed by the generosity. And the fact that at the end of this yellow brick road is going to be what I believe to be my biggest Emerald City moment of my life. So, like, of course I'm going to, like, what's $4,000 out of my pocket for this? Plus, you're dying and we're now friends. Like if I love you, I love you. If I hate you, I fucking hate you. But I like him so much. Like I'm smitten with old Clive because he's funny and he's charming and that's all it takes to win me over, really. So no, Clive, I'm 100% coming back. All right. Well, actually, now here we go. Now the acting. Clive puts his acting chops to work. Here we go. Wait, what's that, love? Right. Oh, I see. Yes. Okay. Kirby, I've just had a chat to Kieran. She's just... What's that? Yes, of course. Kieran has just mentioned to me that we collectively have... Mate, we have thousands upon thousands of air miles, flight points. Mate, I can't take this stuff with me also. I don't have anybody else. All my friends are rich. They've got their own private jets. So, mate... We're gonna book your ticket. No, you're not. You're not buying my flight to Australia, Clive. That's insane. I'm not sorry, man. I don't care how rich you are. I'm not taking you up on that. Thank you for the offer. That's very sweet of you, but nah, man. Come on. You've done enough. Well, mate, it's just there. We don't mind. I'm like, I don't care. I'm sorry, but it's just like that's too much. Come on. Like I think that no. In hindsight, God, was I fucking ever so glad that I didn't do that because I would have probably had to have given him my passport information at some point to book the flight. So thank God I have some, that I decided not to, which I never would. That's makes me feel so uncomfortable. So 3 days later, I fly back to Australia. Mum picks me up at the airport. Oh, my favorite son, my number one child is back. Oh, I love you so much. These are just her words that she says. My brother and sister are watching this. Ooh. So I'm back. I'm jet lagged, but I give Clive a call. Hello. Hey, Clive, how you doing? Oh, mate, how are you? How was the flight? You must be jet lagged. You must be tired. How you feeling? So we're talking. We're catching up. All right, mate. So, we're still on for tomorrow morning. You good with that? No problem at all. So I'll see you then, Clive. So I'm super excited. Get up at like 5 a.m. and I'm making breakfast. I'm pumped. And then I get a phone call, and it's Clive. Mate, I'm so sorry to do this to you, but you know about me heart, obviously. Well, mate, I actually have a pacemaker, so I have pretty much a mechanical heart at this point, and I'm a bit short on breath this morning, which Kieran has informed me, my wife Kieran,
that I couldn't believe that he was telling people that I was his wife. Suddenly I'd gone from his cousin to his wife.
Has informed me that the doctor did say that if I ever feel too short on breath, it's most likely because the old ticker isn't ticking properly and it needs to be recalibrated again, unfortunately, mate. So I have to book a kind of an emergency appointment with my cardiologist. So I'm going to be going into the blah, blah, blah hospital today, Kirby, and I have to get that fixed, mate. I'm so sorry, but shouldn't take too long and I'll be good to go. But I would say, just to play it safe, today is probably out of the question. But if you're okay, we'll do it at the same time tomorrow morning, Sunday morning. No worries. Actually, I was stoked. I could go surfing, get over my jet lag a little bit more. Sunday morning rolls around. Exact same thing. Exactly the same. Gonna get some t-shirts. Flipping over pancakes. I'm singing. I'm cooking breakfast. I'm feeling fantastic. Brutty. Hello? Kirby, how are ya? Good. Could tell straight away. Good, mate. How you doing? How you feeling today? Not good, mate. They couldn't get me in yesterday, unfortunately. And it's just another excuse. Goes on to talk about his heart again and how it needs to be recalibrated, blah, blah. Okay, no worries. So, sorry, mate. Sorry. Have to be the same time again tomorrow. 100% we're getting in today, so 100%. In my head, I'm like, yeah, if you're as rich as what you say you are, you've definitely got private healthcare and you've probably got the best doctors. But, hey, who am I to say? All right, mate, no worries. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow rolls around. The exact same fucking scenario is flipping pancakes. Blooty. Hello? Mate. Now, the bullshit radar is gone from a slight tingle, like the slight murmurings on a Richter scale if there was an earthquake 4,000 years that way, to now, I can feel some vibrations. The Richter scale, the bullshit meter's starting to kind of twizzle, which is a word that doesn't make much sense to anyone else, but it does to me. It's starting to twizzle a little bit. Mate, jeez, Curb. And he's emotional. He's very emotional on the other end of the phone. He sounds very flat. Kirby, mate, I'm so sorry to do this, but I'm actually going to Sydney. I'm heading to the airport now. One of my best friend's daughters just killed herself, mate. Stephanie, she's like a daughter to me, and and look, I'm not making light of suicide in any stretch of the imagination. I'm just telling you exactly what happened. So I'm on the other end of the phone, like I'm just fucking, oh no. You poor bugger. Oh, mate, I'm so sorry, Clive. That's so heavy. Yeah, of course. Don't worry about today. You go do what you need to do. Yeah, mate. Thanks, mate. I'm going to take Wally's. So, Wally.
Always talking about how he's going to fly us everywhere, but at the last minute something always came up. Wally something, yeah. Wally this. Same thing that happened to you.
One of his billionaire mates is a guy called Wally. Wally supposedly owned Toll Trucking. Toll Trucking, for those that don't know, it's just like DHL. It's just a big courier company in Australia. So Wally sold the company for like $1 billion and has a private jet, and Wally's one of his best mates. Yeah, mate, so Wally's been kind enough to lend us the jet, so we're gonna fly down to Sydney, mate. I just got to be with my buddy. I got to make sure he's all right and blah, blah. And again, I'm heartbroken too. Like, I'm making light of it now, but at the time, I was fucking shattered. I was so sad. I felt so bad for him. That's gut-wrenching. And then, fuck T-shirts. At the same time, though, it's tough because I'm leaving in 4 or 5 days time from this moment. And I'm like, now I'm kind of screwed. Like, it's tough. How am I going to rush this? I don't know. I don't know if I can. It's a really tough spot. These are tough waters to navigate. I don't want to come across as insensitive, but I have come all this way. But at the same time, they are just shirts. This is someone's life, and oh God. So I spoke to Mum, and I was like, I'm just gonna, hope that at some point before me going, he kind of can maybe put the grief aside for one moment and just give me the shirts, and then I know that sounds fucked, but I don't know. Tricky spot for sure. So off he goes to the funeral, and then I get a call later that day, Monday afternoon. Hello, Kirby, it's Clive. Kieran and I have decided to fly back, mate. We're of no real use to my friend here. He's beside himself, mate, and I'm actually thinking, and so is Kieran, for my heart, my achy breaky heart. My stress levels, It's probably best if I'm around something to take my mind off it. So, mate, we're gonna come back and yeah, but look, it won't be tonight, obviously, because we're gonna be tired by the time we get in. So we'll stick to tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning. Come here, and we'll get it done. Oh, Clive. Okay, mate. Well, thank you. It must be a hard spot for you, but very, very much appreciate that. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. So the next morning, what do you think happened? Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Well done. Ding, ding, ding. So here I am. Bacon and eggs. Yeah, I love them sweet, sweet bacon and eggs. Oh, that's Clive. Okay, it's weird. I'm not sure what it would be calling. Is it potentially to make another fucking bullshit excuse up? Hello? Kirby, it's Clive. How are you, mate? I'm good, Clive. How are you? How you feeling today, considering? I'm all right, mate. We're still a bit down, obviously. You can't really rush these things. But listen, I was having a chat to Wally, and I cannot believe I never thought to do this for you. I can't believe I never thought about this. But listen, Kerb, I was talking to Wally, and I was saying, can you believe I've got this young bloke coming all the way from Canada for these old shirts? And Wally was just like, wow, but how's the young bloke going to get all, because God, you've got a lot, Clive. Does he know just how much you have? Because I don't know how he's going to get it back to Canada. Now, because Wally used to be, as you know, Kirby, on the board of because he used to own Toll Trucking, but is now still currently on the board of directors for Toll, he has generously offered to send everything to Canada for you. Isn't that bloody nice of Wally? God, he's a great guy. Now, yeah, that is nice of Wally. However, I don't know if this is fucking real, and I've come a very, very long way. At this point, I need to touch this stuff to justify this trip, and I need to know for myself, for my own peace of mind, that this even exists, that this is even real. Plus, I really want to know some of the stories behind the shirts, and if I can get them from the guy that can tell me those stories, I would just like to get them from the source, personally. It's just how I am. But mostly, it's because, well, no, I'm here now, so fuck that. So I politely decline and go, listen, man, thank you, but I explain my reasons. He's like, oh, okay, well, I just figured. And I'm like, yeah, nah, thank you, though. I go, however, pause. Sorry. Because he also was like, mate, the shirts are actually not at the house. They're at, I've got 2 boxes at the house, but the majority of them, the other 28 boxes, are in Kempsey, in my big storage unit there with all my Bentleys and my Lamborghinis and Harley Davidsons and whatnot. So they're all there. But that's 4 hours away, Curb. So we're going to have to go there. Now, I was prepared for this. I was going to go rent a truck. All good. Once I have it, I'll deal with it then. He mentions how Wally had this offer to fly everything to Canada, and I decline. But then I say, well, hey, Clive, if Wally was kind and generous enough to just send everything all the way to the other side of the world, do you think he would mind just sending it down the road 4 hours to my mum's house? No, that should be absolutely fine. Mate, of course, I didn't even think about that. We could do it at your mum's. Would you be okay if Kieran and I came over, though? Because we would love to see your face light up, Kerb. We just absolutely bloody love that, especially considering what I've just gone through with the funeral, Kerb. Oh, gosh darn, I'm sad. Clive, mate, of course. My mum will cook up a spread. No worries at all. You're more than welcome. Kieran, bring whoever you want. No problem. All right, mate. Well, send me your mother's address, and I'll get them on a truck, and we'll get them down to you for tomorrow. Oh, wow, okay. So now I'm sort of like, no reason to make that up. I'm back into the high believability. I'm back on board. You don't know why. There's the bullshit rate is jiggling a little bit. It's swizzling. We've got a swizz going, but I'm just, it's more of a believable thing. No reason to lie. No reason to lie whatsoever. So anyway, so the plan was the shirts were meant to come the next day, Wednesday morning. Wednesday morning. I'm leaving Friday. So I have 2 more days until I go. So the shirts are meant to come bright and early Wednesday morning. And he was going to meet, Kieran and Clive were going to meet at mine roughly around the same time that the truck arrives. Okay, cool. Wake up bright and early. Look at my watch. Oh, 9 o'clock. It's not really bright and early though, is it? Any minute now, they're going to be here any bloody minute now. If it's one thing I know, it's people. And there's no reason to lie. So for sure, they're going to be here any minute now. Kicking time. Oh, gosh darn tootin'. That's bloody 10 a.m. Cause for concern. Level of bullshit radar rising. Rage rising with equal parts. I'm heated. I've got a steam valve on either side. I'm pissed. However, again, I'm still right there in May. No reason to lie. Now it's 12. I haven't heard anything from him. I call. Bertie. Hey, mate, how are you? I'm so sorry I haven't been in contact. I'm dealing with this fucking idiot situation. Curb, you're never going to bloody believe it. You're never going to... He just goes absolutely crazy. He's like, you're never going to fucking believe it, mate. The bloody truck, the stupid morons. Geez, they're fucking idiots, mate. This is the problem. Post-COVID, they're just hiring bloody morons. I'll tell you this much. If bloody Wally was still in charge, there'd be firings. Oh, God, strike me down. There'd be bloody firings. But look, Curb, I'm so sorry. What's happened, mate? What's bloody happened is the truck was meant to go to your house, but guess what it's done, Curb? It's gone all the way to Mollendina. Mollendina is about an hour from my mum's house. And it's stupidly, somehow, gone to bloody Coffs Harbour. Coffs Harbour's like, 3 hours away. So, mate, I am bloody ropeable. I am livid. We're going to get to the bottom of it, mate. Just hang tight. I'm going to sort this whole thing out. Oh, man. Okay. Shit. All right, cool. So he hangs up. And I'm thinking... I mean, that's a big fuck up. That's a massive courier company. All right. What can I do? Again, what the fuck can I do? I just have to hope and pray at this point because come on, please don't let this be a complete waste of my time and money. So I'm just waiting by the phone and I'm like fucking sweating. And then phone rings. He's like, I am absent. And just, I got the phone out here. He's screaming. He's like, you're never going to fucking believe it. These fucking, and he's going on and on and on and on and on. He's like, mate, it's not going to happen today. I'm so fucking sorry. I'm absolutely livid. Oh my God. You know, the thing is, and blah, blah. So I have to, and I just want to, at this point, I'm like, hey, listen, motherfucker, are you fucking me around? Because this seems like you're fucking me around. And I'm just like, I want to go down that road very much. Oh boy, do I want to go down that road. But that's not going to get me anywhere. As my mum always says, you get more in this world with honey than you do vinegar. So I'm like, yeah, okay. Well, yeah. Fuck, jeez. And I'm just speechless. Like, okay, so what's the plan now? Clive Minshall, what's the plan? Mate, they're gonna give us a guarantee it's gonna be there tomorrow morning by 7 a.m. Sorry for how early it is. I do apologize, but yeah, we got 30 boxes coming your way tomorrow 7 a.m. I'm so sorry. We feel terrible, Kieran and I, mate. You know, we're just trying to do a good thing, and hey, man, it's not your fault. He's like, oh bloody hell, this shouldn't happen. All right, mate, we'll see you tomorrow. So I go to bed. You know, at this point, my wife is like just starting to do investigative research behind the scenes, and she's starting to contact people. She's not telling me, but she's starting to contact. The first person that she's contacting is the woman that he claims is his wife, Kieran. Kieran and Clive share the same last name. So look, before I left, I did notice on Clive's Facebook that his supposed wife, Kieran, there's no sign of like married, you know, on Facebook it's like married to, like that's not there. It says he's single. But I just kind of put it down to him like, yeah, it's a bit weird, but you know, not everybody lives their life on Facebook or constantly has to do updates. And, you know, he's telling me he's not very tech savvy, so maybe he just doesn't know all the buttons to push to make the thing happen. I don't know, but it's not enough of a deterrent, but it's noted for sure. It's weird. But I think also too, I just chose to ignore a lot of stuff. I did. There was red flags I chose to ignore because I was so convinced that there's just no reason to lie. Therefore, I have to believe him. It's so amazing that it's just one of those crazy once in a lifetime stories. And how could I not follow this? Like, imagine if it does turn out to be true and, you know, fucking Jim Blow down the road, I just scored, look at this, 4,000. Like, that would torture me when it was right there. So, you know, I just ignored a lot of shit. Now, looking back, I kick myself. But it is what it is. At least I got to see mum and my mates again. So it's not, you know. So the truck, Clive and Kieran, his wife, are going to be at mum's house, around 7 o'clock in the morning. So 6 o'clock, I'm making breakfast. Not as much gusto in my step now. I'm flat, man. I don't think this is going to happen, but I'm living in hope, and I'm fading. The dream is fading. And I like didn't want to look at my watch, and then I did, and it was like 7:30. And I go, 8 o'clock comes. Get all the way to 9 o'clock. Hello, Clive. It's Kirby. Hey man, you guys are a bit late. Just a bit of an ETA. Like, what's going on? And he's like, mate, I'm right now contemplating whether I should get Wally involved, but because, mate, Wally's in his 80s, I just don't want to give the guy a bloody panic attack. He might die. He's going to be so stressed. But, mate, they're claiming that they didn't get on the bloody morning truck curb. They're going to be on the afternoon truck now, mate. And I've had an absolute fucking gutful. So what we have decided to do, Kieran's looked at me and said, we can't mess this poor guy around. So what we've decided to do is we're going to get in the Bentley. Yeah, the Bentley. And we're going to drive all the way to Coffs Harbour, and we are going to ensure that these boxes get on this goddamn truck, and we're going to follow the truck all the way back to yours, mate. We're going to make this happen. That's the sort of bloke I am. If you, like, I'm going to make sure this happens, Kirby. I didn't get to where I bloody got to in life without making sure shit happens. I'm going to bloody make sure this happens. So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, well, fucking what good's that going to bloody do? You're going to drive fucking 4 hours away. Going to go, right, yep, those boxes are on the truck. Good job, lads. And then you're going to just follow the truck for another 4 hours back to my mum's house. But again, sure, Clive Minshall, that makes perfect sense. Go ahead and do that. Because, fuck, now I'm hanging on to about 15% hope. But that 15%, man, that 15% will make you do some stupid shit. So I'm like, all right, man. Sure, makes sense. Do that. For sure do that. That's a smart thing to do. So off he goes, supposedly following this truck. And then, he said, so mate, look, by the time we're all said and done, I'd say we'll probably be at your mum's house for, let's just play it safe. Let's just go like 9 p.m. tonight. I'm like, fine. Okay, I'll see you at 9 p.m. So, my mum being my mum, I mean, anyone that's met bloody the most beautiful angel in the world, Miss Julie Fisher, can understand. Of course she did this. So mum goes and buys a bunch of bloody snacks. And I mean, that fucking really pisses me off. It's one of the parts of the story that fucking fill me up with rage so much. A lot of the parts of this story, I'm just baffled. That makes me furious. Like, anyway. No, but he's like, and then he says this. He sends me this random message. Lads will meet me halfway between Woolgoolga and Grafton. So maybe 1 hour earlier. I have no idea what the fuck that means. I don't know what that means. The lads, we're talking about like the guys driving the truck. That makes no sense whatsoever. At about 2 p.m., I just kind of got to a point where I'm like, nah, enough's enough. I'm going to have to ask for some sort of evidence that this exists because I think I'm being taken for a fucking fool here. I mean, I kind of subconsciously knew it a long time ago, but I'm now 100% that there's just fucking fuck you. I'm so mad. So I call him. Oh, fuck. I thought I wasn't recording. Listen, Clive, and also too, when I call him, it's deathly quiet. Like, it just sounds like he's at home. Like, it's not like you can't hear the sound of cars going zoom, zoom, like he's on the highway or the sound. Like, it doesn't sound like he's anywhere near a road. It's quiet. And I did note that. Anyway, but I go, listen, man, myself and my family are starting to feel a little, and I stop myself and I go, I was wondering, would it be okay? Could I just grab the tracking number for the truck off you? I mean, that way I can at least keep it. You ungrateful little fucking shit. How dare you? And just goes fucking mental. Like, so insane. I had the phone out like this, like on speakerphone, like going, what the fuck? Like, the level of 0 to 1 trillion it went to, and it made no sense. Like, there's no reason to react that way at all. I was very, very polite and very soft. It was so bananas. But that's also, I have a pathological liar in my family. I've been around it, and that's what happens when they get backed into a corner, when the lies start to uncrumble and you kind of present them with the evidence that they're busted, that's always how they react. Just fucking man babies every time. And then he hangs up. So then, just tell your family we are doing the best we can. This came on very quickly, and a funeral in between. We didn't ask you to fly here. Kieran's pissed. So now I'm trying to call him because I'm not in complete 100% this is bullshit. I'm about 5% fucking what if. 5% what if. Have I just come all this way? Maybe I have just fucked this. What if? What if? It's weird, but what if? So I'm just sort of like regretting it, and I'm kind of going into damage control. So I'm ringing him, he's not picking up, and then I write, mate, please pick up. And he's like, we try to do something for someone, and this is the way we're treated. The boxes will be there by 7:10, then that's it. Sorry, I got my timeline mixed up. So 7:10, he said that'd be here, not 9. Anyway. Please, Clive, I was so stoked to connect with you, mate. I'm just trying to keep everybody at ease. My wife and I are struggling a bit, so for her, I'm just trying to calm her down, meaning Kelsey was really struggling with, why the fuck are you doing this? How are you not seeing that this is bullshit? And me going, no, just hang on. No. He apparently his best mate's a drummer from Pink Floyd and he used to play in the Dam. But there's no evidence. But just, I bet you he's not lying. I bet you it's probably not a lie. So, but I was like, I trust you 1,000%. I didn't. But again, I'm just buttering up. And I'm so fucking sorry for offending you both. And then I took a photo of my gift, little tactic there. Little tactic. I even wrapped your presents myself. Haha. I'm sorry, mate. Look, I really am. We will be off air for 1 hour. We even offered to pay your fare on flyby, so you can probably understand her position. Glad I'm not driving back with her. What? Never said anything about 2 bloody cars. What do you want about, mate? What do you want about, mate? Fucking pisses me off. Anyway, I know, mate. I'm sorry. So, this goes on and on. This goes back and forth quite a bit. Just little kind of like me just trying everything to kind of like back up and, just fucking trying so desperately to rein it back in. Then I get this message. We won't be coming tonight. This is Wednesday night. So I have one more day before I leave. We won't be coming tonight. This girl is fuming. This girl being Kieran, his wife.
My first cousin.
We have never in my life been spoken to like that, ever. All we tried to do was give something to someone. We never asked for you to come to Oz, and we thought this stuff was going to someone that would appreciate it. I've told you numerous occasions I have a heart condition and do not handle stress. Thought we went out of our way today as we were let down. Also, I'm going to bed. Let me to rest. Let me know in the morning when everyone's calms down and what you want to do. But tonight I'm going to rest. Thank you. And I was basically like, I hope I get the chance to say sorry in person and meet you guys because I've come a long way, yada, yada. He's like, you will, but Kieran's so upset. As I told you, she has a lot of empathy and even got upset the other morning for trying to buy people coffee. So this is apparently a thing that they like to do as a couple. They like to go to restaurants and cafes and they like to buy free meals and free coffees for everybody because they're just so bloody goddamn generous. And apparently this one time he did that, the barista was like, that's a bit weird, and they got super offended. And then, anyway, I told you she has a lot of empathy and even got upset the other morning for trying to buy people coffee. We'll talk in the morning, but I must calm down and rest. So talk in the morning, already in bed, things will be more relaxed, blah, blah, blah. So the next morning, this is Thursday morning. This is my last day before I leave back to Canada. Hey, Clive, how are you and Kieran feeling today, mate? I'm okay. She's still pissed. If you still want this stuff, just let us know, but we will drop them off. Here we go. Woo, this is where the rage kicks in. Woo, this is where the rage kicks in. Hey, I'm okay, but she's still pissed. If you still want this stuff, just let us know, but we will drop them off at your mother's next time I'm at the coast. Whoa. You told me you live there. You told me you live in your mansion in Hope Island. What? Lying! Oh, God. Kerr's problem that I've heard for the last day is you told us your family thought we were lying. No, I didn't. I was just wondering, would it be possible if I get the tracking number? And my reason for that was so I can keep an eye on the truck to know when it comes to my house. And I didn't even get to finish that sentence before you, Clive Minsall, went to fucking outer space fueled by a rocket of rage. Because you're fucking insane. Which Kieran takes very personal. With my health yesterday took a lot out of me. We were just trying to get the stuff to you yesterday, and we get abused. What? I get abused for trying to do something nice for someone. We never asked for you to fly from Canada. These could easily just get dropped at your mother's place. So if the stuff is still wanted, I have your mother's number, and we'll see when I'm next on the coast. I'm sorry if you feel disappointed, but we were just trying to get them to you whilst you're here. Apologies are okay to say later, but it was very hurtful. So that moment right there, when the penny finally dropped, I just knew. I'm like, holy fuck. This guy is a crazy person. Just been lying and lying and lying and lying the whole fucking time. So, yeah, I mean, I was fuming. I was like, you fucking piece of shit. You complete sociopathical, pathological, fucking insane serpent. Oh my God, there's no motivation to hurt somebody like this. Why the fucking living fuck would you do this to somebody? Once I let the rage go down by having a couple of Tim Tams and a nice cup of tea, I regrouped and I wrote, ha 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 ha. Okay, mate. So then we have a couple of interesting things to touch on now. So, okay. So he sends me that. Now we're going to go back in time a little bit. So before I left Canada for Australia, we had so many conversations before I left. So one of the conversations, we're on the phone and he's talking about his wife, Kieran, which he often does. And he's just like bombarding me with photos of her, which I'm not going to share here because that's private. But one of the photos that he shared was suspicious to me.
My wife was in movies like Star Wars and the Australian one as an extra. But she got a role in it, you know, like...
That's amazing.
Yeah, but she was the green monster number 2 in the bar scene.
But I was distracted because I was like this. I had him on speakerphone. I was like, oh yeah, I know. Well, oh yeah, oh cool, mate. Yeah, no, she is beautiful. Yeah. Awkward as fuck. So I had him on speakerphone, and on Messenger, the photos are coming up on my computer, and I'm just sort of like in my peripheral being like, oh yeah, cool. Yeah, there's another photo of her. This is weird. Can we talk about t-shirts again, please? One of the photos he sent me, however, did catch my eye, and I remember looking at it going, but then he distracted me with something. Mate, did I ever tell you the time I fucking, found 16 Ferraris in my bathroom by accident, or whatever fucking dog shitty nonsense he said? So, I didn't really go back and look at that photo. It wasn't until this exact sentence. I'm sorry if you felt disappointed. That fucking, it's just that moment. I'm sorry I can't explain why. Anyway. So in that moment, I went back and I started thinking. So he sent me this photo in her drinking days. If you look at that photo now, it's very suspicious for so many reasons. But the big one to me was just my common sense radar when I just looked at it again. And I hadn't looked at it again until this moment. I saw that, had a couple of Tim Tams, had a nice cup of tea, calmed down, regrouped, came back, and was just going through the evidence and just kind of preparing my dossier of bullshit against Clive Minsall. And I get to this photo, and I'm like, oh, motherfucker. Holy shit. How did I not fucking look at this photo? I don't think I would have gone on the trip. That photo would have told me everything. So he sends me this photo here, right? It's a woman drinking.
Yeah, that's not even Karen.
That's not me. Thanks, lady.
Had I seen it at the time, I would have known that because it doesn't look anything like you. So
I got better tits than that.
I now have my trailer for the documentary.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely. Anyway. That is unreal. He just found a photo and sent it to you and pretended it was me.
There's some crazy ones that are really obvious, but I didn't notice them. But this one was fascinating. So I put this on Instagram and I was like, hey guys, I need your help. I know this is not who he's claiming it is, but I would love to know who it actually is. And it turns out this woman is still around. She's an actress. Her name's Beatrice Darley. And this is a still from the movie Betty Blue, which came out in 1987.
Oh, my God. She'd be much older now. Yeah, she'd be much older.
And so he sent to me, when he was sending all these photos of you, some probably just taken off your Facebook, I assume, or something. And he's like, and this is a photo of Kieran in her drinking days. She doesn't drink now, but this is her in her party days, right? That was that photo, which I just showed you. So once I'd figured out who it actually was and what it was from, this was the last thing I sent to him. So now I'm like trying to have a bit of fun. Hey. Okay, mate. And I send that photo that he sent me, just screen grab it. I go, this photo you sent me really got me thinking. Oh wow. Kieran sure looks like Beatrice Darley. And then, well, and then I shared a screenshot from just some film website I found that breaks down that scene. And I sent that to him. And then he quickly was like, that photo was on my phone. It was a joke. Kieran doesn't drink. Then I put a call out on my socials and lo and behold, the truth, mate. You got busted. You got busted, mate. There is no shirts. We know. I have no idea why I was this stupid. I guess I trust people. I have 29 boxes. Wow. Yeah. No proof, though. All lies. Credited on playing drums on over 400 records. No proof. And I never said anything that warranted an insane outburst towards me. Oh, fuck off. You sound like a prick. And then, and I have such regret. If I could go back in time, I would have answered this call, screen grab. Now I have a photo. Now I know what you fucking look like, you troll person. So, fuck off. You sound like a prick. He calls me. And I guess in his rage, doesn't realize that he's actually hit the video icon, not just the phone icon. So it's a video call. And this would have been, oh my goodness gracious, this would have been my first time I could have actually put a visual on this for sure troll creature. So, but it came in, I was like, nah, fuck this. It's done. There's no conversation anymore. There's no fucking playing. We're done. Block, delete, block instantly. Like, fuck you. I screenshot this and sent it to my wife. I'm like, this motherfucker. And she's like, you idiot. You fucking should have answered that call because we could have seen what he looked like. And I'm kicking myself for that. Probably just a toad with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, playing the pokey machines or the slots. I would imagine is what he looked like. That's just what I'm imagining. I don't know. So it would have been nice to have had a visual of the troll creature. But anyway, is what it is. So I write to him, I have no idea what motivated your lies. I'm an innocent person that you hurt and took advantage of for nothing. There was just way too many holes in your story, mate. It makes no sense to any of us why you would make all this nonsense up. I hope you get the help you need. And then peace. Now, this is the last thing of the story. So one of my best friends, Joe, his father-in-law is the Australian singer-songwriter Brian Cadd. Ginger man, follow me home. He's a very well-known singer, songwriter in Australia, especially amongst a kind of older age demographic. Anyway, so one of the things I had said to Clive, going way back to before I even left Canada for Australia, just through one of our many conversations and talking about music and the people that we know, and maybe we have some mutual friends because we're both from the Gold Coast. One of those guys that I threw out there, I was like, oh, Clive, mate, like, fuck, I'm actually wondering, do you know Brian Cadd? Because Brian Cadd's my one of my best mates' father-in-laws. Oh, Caddy! Oh, the Cadmeister! Oh yeah, I love Caddy. Caddy, yeah, me. Oh, geez, me and the Cad man. Me and the Cadbury egg. We used to call him. Me and the old caddy boy. Hey, you want to play golf? Bring the caddy. Yeah, nah. Me and Caddy go way back, mate. Yeah, good mates. So I asked Joe, I'm like, hey man, once this all happened, I'm like, do me a quick favor. Can you just send this guy's profile to your father-in-law, Brian, and just ask him if he knows this guy. I just want to know, does he know Clive Minsall? Joe gets back to me a couple of hours later. He goes, nah, mate, he's never heard of him. So I write, had a chat with Brian. He's never heard of you. Interesting, hey?
When he rang me and said that he'd been in hospital and Karen was by his side helping with all this and he was dying and all that, and then I found out that there was lies, I wanted to cease. I just thought that was cruel. Yeah. You know, that's disgusting to do that to another human being.
So yeah, that's my story. That's the great T-shirt scam of 2023, and it's, I mean, you got to laugh because it's so insane. And if you try too hard to try to figure out motivations as to why, which I have, you too could go insane trying to get an answer, because there isn't one. This is just a crazy person that did a really shitty thing and does shitty things on the regular. And so, if it seems too good to be true, it is. And yeah, fairy tales are just that. They're fairy tales. So yeah, here's what it is. Now, Kelsey, whilst all this shit was going on, like I said, was doing her own investigative research, and she reached out to Kieran, which then led her to her friend, Layla.
The first I knew about this guy was Karen saying, I've been in contact with this Clive guy.
And both amazing people. And then both Kieran and Layla also brought on Sharon and Tiffany.
But he really made me feel sympathetic and all this empathy toward him, and it was all lies.
And Barb. And we jumped on Zoom and they told me their stories. And so that's going to be part 2 of this. You think my story is bad? Their story is fucking worse. For those that want to stick around for part 2, I'll put that out ASAP. Thanks for watching, and I hope this never happens to anybody else. But if it does, or if there are similar stories out there, hit me up. I'm curious. I'm curious to know, because I really fucking hate scammers and liars and manipulators. And I'm by no means trying to be the CoffeeZilla of vintage. I don't want it to turn into that. This was a one and done situation. But it's nice to talk to other people that have been through something. You don't feel so silly. I felt so silly after this. Like, oh, how could I be so stupid? But then when you talk to other people, when you have these conversations and like, oh, these are just normal, nice, lovely, grounded, sane individuals, you might be watching this and thinking, how could you fall for this? But trust me, charm and charisma is a dangerous thing, and this guy had it in spades. So we'll give you that, Mr. Clive. You're a charming motherfucker, but you're mostly just the last part. You're just a fucking motherfucker, mate. So I hope you get help, because you suck. Yep, that's it. The end.
I'm not qualified to give chemotherapy, and he was claiming that I was his nurse in our home in Sydney.